become part of the Xbox family. I can't stop this acquisition from happening, and I don't think I'd want to stop it anyway. But let's talk about some hopes and dreams that I have for the IP. If you are a Microsoft employee and you're watching this looking for ideas from the community, I ask that if you take any of these ideas, please just put me on the swag list. Just to send me some Xbox swag. You can DM me. Okay, I'm dreaming. All right, let's just get into it. Let's get into it. All right. First thing, I feel like since Call of Duty is going to stay multi-plat, let it stay multi-plat. My first hope for Call of Duty is that it stops being annual so that these other studios can make cooler things, because as big, blockbuster, and crazy as Call of Duty is, I think its popularity is starting to wane, especially with the advent of better business models for it. Why do you need a yearly Call of Duty? You don't. So, that's my first wish. Call of Duty stops being annual, and Raven, High Moon, Beanox, whoever get to go play in different IP land and make something different, because I want to see it. Let's start with Blizzard IP, because I'm very familiar with them. I loved Blizzard games for the longest time, but lately they've been... Overwatch was the last, fantastic game, and everything's kind of gone downhill. It's all gone downhill. So let's start with, I think, the game that could be turned around the quickest after the acquisition, and that is Heroes of the Storm. Now, Heroes of the Storm is a MOBA. If you've never heard of it and didn't know it still existed, it's a MOBA game that has all Blizzard characters in it. That's cool, but maybe we need to expand it out a bit because we're going to be part of the Xbox family. Let's add some Xbox characters in there. Why not? Make some iconic Xbox themed levels from iconic new and old Xbox themed games. Rework it so it could work on maybe mobile, console, and PC. It's not the most difficult MOBA, and I find it very approachable, and I really like it. But the problem is that it's got terrible netcode, which could be fixed with Microsoft's massive backend. So, throw in some Microsoft characters. Let's throw in some iconic ones like Master Chief, Marcus, Kate, Conquer if you want a silly one, Crash. Though I feel like Crash and Spyro should be put in a different game that I have slightly later in the list, because we need some more family friendly and maybe some PvP for all ages. Pick your favorite Xbox characters and add them to the ecosystem with levels to go with. I think it'd be really cool because you get the other iconic villains. You could play that sweet Spartan Hunter from Halo Infinite, Atriox, the Arbiter, bring Keith David back. I love Keith David. It's Arbiter. Winner. That's a winner, because if you have a mobile console PC, it's free to play, available on Steam, it suddenly becomes way easier for people to just jump in and try the game. And they get a little taste of the IP you have. I know that mostly the game is Blizzard IP, and that was kind of the deal. I think the Blizzard Walled Garden might need to be broken down a bit, because we need to get newer generations interested in Blizzard IP. And the problem is, a lot of people who are really interested in Blizzard IP are my age and older. That's my first one. Starcraft. Now, Starcraft is a fantastic RTS series that was supposed to have a spin-off called Starcraft Ghost. I believe it was for the PS2 and the original Xbox, and from what I've heard from internal versions of the game, it was not good. So people are like, bring back Starcraft Ghost. And to that I say, no. A third-person shooter Starcraft Ghost game could be good, but ghosts are supposed to be sneaky. So let's change the thing and let's make ghosts sneaky. Who makes good stealth action games under the Xbox brand, I should say? It's Arcane. Give it to Arcane. Arcane make this crazy, multifaceted level. I don't know if they could ever top something like Dishonored, but I definitely think it could be cool. Sci-fi, you want to be sneaky, you know, maybe you need special things to keep the cloaking running on your suit. Got to improvise because you're in a weird mission. Maybe some horror, have a Zerg ship trying to take out other Terran targets. Could be good. But on the other hand, you could also make horror IP with StarCraft because the Zerg are terrifying. With today's graphics, you could graphics that consoles, PCs can pull off. I'm pretty sure you could do something really awesome with the Zerg and make them extra terrifying in a first person or a third person game and make them look very close to, if not exactly like, cinematic quality Blizzard for StarCraft 2. Maybe be an engineer or something and you gotta put things together to make something to survive. Could be cool. Warcraft is deeply rooted in the MMO now. A lot of people will not remember its RTS roots, but it was an RTS first. A lot of people bring back the real-time strategy Diablo game, Warcraft games. To that I say, sure, but why not make something different? Like, what about action RPG game? Or something kind of like Monster Hunter. You can kind of follow the plot of like Monster Hunter World, and you have invasive species coming from Outlands or something, and you have to hunt them down in Azeroth and take them back to Outlands. If I said Outworlds, that's Mortal Kombat, but take them back to the Outlands or Draenor or wherever they're from, and different parts. Co-op fighting. Warcraft is kind of a popular IP in Asia. Monster Hunter type games are very popular in Asia. You could have dragons, you have all sorts of stuff. Could be cool. I think it's time to just throw ideas at the wall and see what sticks, right? See what people like. Yeah, but I have written here you could make the new RTS game, but I think branching out more is way better for the IP and probably healthier. Diablo. Oh, Diablo. I like Diablo. It was a fun RPG, but what I don't like about Diablo is the weird loot system. And while I feel like it's not a weird loot system, it's like a loot dungeon crawler game, and I kind of just no, I don't want it. No, I don't want another one. Diablo 4 is coming out, and let's make something new with Diablo. I have the perfect idea. The perfect idea. What is another type of game? Okay, we have characters. Take out a ton, armies of things. Warriors games. Diablo Warriors. I don't think it's a perfect idea, but I definitely think it could be a fun way to blow an afternoon, especially if it was split screen co-op. Moving on to Overwatch. Overwatch is one of my favorite of the Blizzard IPs. It's a game that I still play to this day on PC. I love and adore it. And I feel like with it going to be part of Xbox and under the Game Pass umbrella, there is definitely time to branch it out from what it is now. So first, I know there's supposed to be coming an RPG themed with a talent tree sort of co-op mode, player versus environment PvE co-op mode. And while that sounds cool, Back 4 Blood has taught me one thing, and one thing alone, is that if the difficulty is tuned even a little bit too high, or you need to rely on someone to do a lot or to pull their weight in a scenario, it can be very hard to beat a scenario in a co-op game when it is with randoms. So randoms kind of suck. So while I'm not against having a 4-player, 3-player, whatever co-op mode where you have to go through these scenarios and fight things. People said they were fun. I was looking at them. I don't think they have infinite replayability like Blizzard was saying. But what about, because we have Game Pass. Now, Game Pass is the, so you don't have to worry about funding. You just throw out whatever. What about smaller or maybe medium-sized single-player campaigns in the Overwatch universe? Because there's a lot that happens in like the Overwatch universe that gets told to us through books, comic books, short stories, and well, that is kind of interesting in its own right. I don't think it's not the best way to tell the story. Something more personal, you know? Maybe make your own hero or something. You don't have to be ever become a part of Overwatch, but just make your own hero and you'll see the fall of Overwatch or something. It could be fun. You wouldn't have to get Blizzard necessarily to work on the whatever they call the Overwatch teams, like Blizzard Team 5 or something. They have very original names at Blizzard for their teams, I'll tell you that much. You don't have to get them to work on it. I feel like almost any studio under the Xbox banner now would be fantastic at making that. Even if it's not exactly what Blizzard would make, I think it'd be cool. We'll have to see. All right, the last two Blizzard IPs that are kind of long forgotten, but not really. Lost Vikings. I think Lost Vikings would make a great puzzle game, like a mobile puzzle game, or maybe a console game where you have to move the Vikings around. They've got different powers. You got to get them through different things. You could play it co-op, maybe not co-op because there's 3 of them. It is definitely interesting. I think that's the most interesting idea I have for Lost Vikings. You can make it a platformer or like a 3-player co-op beat 'em up maybe, or something kind of like Diablo, but I think Diablo is too simple an idea for me. I just don't find it as engaging as other games, and I think that as I've gotten older, trying to get me to want to play your game is getting harder and harder and harder. The last Blizzard IP I want to talk about is Blackthorne. Blackthorne's pretty old. You should make it into a new game because Blackthorne is a wicked character. Shotgun, sunglasses, this is bad MFer. Someone out there probably has a better idea than me. The original game was something akin to a adventure game in the vein of something like Another World. I think you could do all sorts of things with it. A more action-y game. Maybe something akin to Uncharted? Maybe? Like an action-adventure game like that? Something very linear. Could be cool. Just a thought. Then I have other IPs that I want to see. Just these ones are just quick, and then I think I'm kind of done with this list. I want to see Hexen 2, Heretic 2 get re-released, at least on PC. Maybe a console version if you can manage it, but if more work would be involved. Heretic 2, I believe, was available on PC for a short time on Steam. I think it still has a Steam page even. I'm not even gonna look it up. But it just kind of, it's sitting there. It's just not doing anything because Activision and Bethesda didn't want to release it. But now that they're all going to be under the same banner, there's no reason not to re-release it. Quake 4 should go on Xbox Game Pass. I had relatively fond memories of Quake 4 playing it on PC. It is kind of a weird game, but not terrible. So yeah, put it on there. And Raven also made some of the other Wolfenstein games. He put those back up too. Let's see. Now, looking through the Activision IP list, there's one thing I really want to see come back, and I think that this is part of the reason why Microsoft is even playing with the idea of was even thinking about purchasing Activision Blizzard, is Activision Blizzard has surprisingly a decent amount of child-friendly IP, I should say, family-friendly IP. So we have the studio Toys for Bob, which made that fantastic Crash Bandicoot version. I don't know if they're the ones that did. I know Shanghai, Activision Shanghai worked on. I want to say they worked on Crash Bandicoot 4 with Toys for Bob, but I don't know if Toys for Bob worked on the other trilogies, the Insane and the Reignited for Spyro. But anyway, with Spyro, Crash, and Skylanders, I think you should get someone like Toys for Bob if they want to make it, of course, because that's kind of the Xbox way. Is not, don't force people to do it, but see what they want to make and then be like, yes or no, maybe spitball ideas around. Or whoever just made that design bible for a new Spyro the Dragon game, give them the green light, Phil. And I think it's time to bring Skylanders back. Now, I know there's like a Toys to Life thing with Skylanders, and I don't think we need those. Not the Skylanders toys. If you wanted a child-friendly entrance or a PvP game, how about a Skylanders MOBA? I know we have Heroes of the Storm earlier, but you know, like something more child-friendly, like Pokemon Unite exists. So why not a Skylanders MOBA? It could work. You know, introduce the genre to kids. You can do Skylanders beat 'em ups, like a side scroller, kind of like Battletoads. So why not have like a kid-friendly game? Also, like everyone's been saying, just make a Smash style game with all the Xbox IP. You have so many characters after this acquisition. Like you got Crash, you've got Conquer, Crash Conquer. You have all the Skylanders. It's a ton there. I can't remember all their names. Spyro, right? Then you have Blackthorne, all the Blizzard IP. Characters like you get Roadhog in there from Overwatch. Diablo's not really kid friendly, but sure, throw some in there. There's a joke in Overwatch. There's this joke game in the arcade in Hanamura, and I think in the Korean map, I can't remember. There's a couple maps. There's an arcade machine for a game called Fighters of the Storm. Make it happen. Make a deal with like Arc System Works or something to make the game happen, because honestly, why isn't this a thing? Like, you see these things in the game and it's like, oh, there's all this stuff, it's so cool. It's like, why isn't this real? You know? I feel like it's just lost opportunity. So I think the Xbox Smash game, I don't know what you call it, I'm sure you'll come up with something. I think that's it for me and ideas that I have about the massive amount of soon to be acquired Xbox IP. I'm sure I'm missing some other ones. There's things people could say. I focused a lot on Blizzard because I think Blizzard's IPs are the most underutilized of anything. Man, a Blackthorne Uncharted game sounds awesome. You could remake the game in like an Uncharted thing. Fine, maybe? I don't know. It's been so long. But that's it for me this week. Hopefully the gameplay tied you over while I was just talking. And I will see you next week. Mata